going live on the podcast. And where am I? In 3, 2, 1.
Recording in progress.
Hello, everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don. And if you're listening to this, you can only be here for one reason. It's got to be a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you each and every week by ComicBookClique.com. And as always, I am never alone. Sir, if you could please introduce yourself.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy, A-Rob, the Marvel Guy. How's everyone doing out there in comic book land?
It's the first podcast of the new year that isn't a prediction. And it's a Marvel property, so you know we had to get the astonishing, the uncanny, the downright amazing A-Rob, the Marvel God, to talk about some Marvel goodness. What if season 3 is out? Came out the last week of December on December 22nd. It's the third and final season of this anthology series, Marvel What If. It kind of, set things on fire when it first landed. This third season has been getting mixed reviews, but before we get into our recap and review, what did you think of season 3 of What If?
I'm a diehard Marvel fan, so it might be kind of biased, but like I enjoyed it. There were some episodes that was like, okay, could have went without that, could have been something different, but overall, I enjoyed the series. There was an overarching story that was being told in the background of the story that they put to the forefront. A lot of people thought it was like the Peggy Carter show. I'm like,
I've heard that as well. Yeah.
like out of like 20 something episodes, she was only in like 8 of them. So I mean, I guess. But like overall, I love the show. I hope it continues. I know there's some spin-offs with the animation of What If in the works, like Marvel Zombies next October.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. And I know Eyes of Wakanda has a different animation style to it, but here's hoping that we get more spin-offs of What If though.
Yeah. So I had two little beefs with this. One is I do think that through this show, it seems like they are trying to create almost like original characters in the MCU as a whole, right? Like this, I know
Right, yeah.
Captain Carter has been a thing, but they're trying to almost cement that, and then Kahori, similar. Those characters, some of those characters are in the TVA book, the new Marvel Comics TVA sort of comic.
Yeah.
And they're taking a lot of this source material from the Exiles, right? These group of time displaced people who are trying to like save the timeline and stuff. So like I got no beef with the show. I think my beef is with almost with my expectations. Because what I liked about what I think is the best season, which is the first one, is how dark it was. Like I went back and I watched the Hank Pym serial killer episode. That episode's pretty dark. I rewatched if Strange lost his heart instead of his hands or whatever. Still really dark there. So I was kind of looking for like Black Mirror esque scenarios here, and they had a lot of fun. Like that's basically how they spent their season. They spent their season having a lot of fun. And that's kind of what this is for. This idea that in the vast multiverse, all kinds of possibilities and stuff. So they should be able to tell whatever story they want to. Um, I still think my favorite episodes of this were the darker ones. Like I think one of my favorites is the Riri Williams episode, and that episode's pretty dark as well.
Facts.
There's multiple.
Yeah, no, that was definitely my top 3 for this season.
Yeah. I like seeing Jeffrey Wright get to do more. I like the idea that Uatu is just straight up black. I like that he's hanging out with the other characters there, and he's just straight up a bit darker skinned. I like the idea of introducing other Watchers. I like the idea of this third season being a culmination of all the things that Jeffrey Wright's Watcher Uatu, did. Like all of that's finally coming to an end here. I dug that as well. But yeah, let's go episode by episode. Full spoilers if you haven't watched this show, and we'll discuss what we dug and liked about already, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the first episode is what if the Hulk fought the Mech Avengers, and we saw a little bit of this stuff in preview images, all these Gundams and mech fighters and stuff. So while jogging in Washington, D.C., Sam Wilson meets Bruce Banner and invites him to a support group. Banner opens up about his struggles as the Hulk, sparking a friendship. Hoping to help, Wilson takes Banner on a family boat trip, but during a storm, Banner transforms, nearly hurting the Wilsons. Guilt-ridden, Banner vows to rid himself of the Hulk and attempts a gamma radiation experiment. Instead, the experiment creates Apex, a monstrous being, and unleashes an army of gamma beasts. The Avengers deployed Hulkbuster mechs to stop the invasion, but it failed. Wilson leads a group of heroes to victory, seemingly eliminating the beast. However, beast just resurfaced a decade later, stronger than ever. When a new Apex is spotted in the Arctic, Wilson, Monica Rambeau, and Bucky Barnes rally allies like Nakia, Shang-Chi, and Moon Knight. Rambeau suggests finding Banner, but Wilson refuses, blaming him for the crisis. Despite his reluctance, Wilson eventually tracks Banner to the Astra Islands. Banner, guilt-ridden, stricken, and reclusive, offers the Mighty Avengers protocol, a failsafe he designed for the Hulkbuster mechs, and warns it was meant to stop himself. Wilson urges Banner to join the fight, hoping he'll see the hero Wilson always saw in him. But when the Gamma Beasts invade New York City, and the Avengers use the Mighty Avenger protocol to combine their mechs into a Megazord.
They pulled a Megazord, y'all.
Yeah, he just did a Megazord. They fend off the beasts, but fail to defeat Apex, who disables the Mighty Avenger with a devastating gamma wave. As hope dwindles, Banner arrives with a risky plan. Absorbing an immense dose of gamma radiation, he transforms into Mega Hulk and battles Apex. The fight is brutal, and Apex gains the upper hand until Wilson intervenes, buying Mega Hulk a crucial opening. Mega Hulk destroys Apex, but then turns his attention to the Avengers. Ready for another fight? The Avengers are stopped by Wilson, who approaches Mega Hulk alone. Wilson speaks to the human inside, reminding Banner of their friendship and his true nature. Moved by Wilson's words, Mega Hulk regains control and leads the Gamma Beasts away to Astra Island, vowing to live in isolation. So this is just one of those stories that's like violence only begets more violence, right? They're really hammering home this idea that Sam Wilson can be the calming voice of reason when things go awry. I mean, that's basically how his season ended, right? In Falcon and the Winter Soldier, basically talks to everybody and gets them to see his side of stuff.
Juice is strong.
Yeah, and I think that this is also trying to create a through line for Wilson and Bruce. You know, I think that their idea of a pairing, friendship, and stuff like that, I think is a pretty interesting one, a pretty cool one. But what do you think about this episode?
It was an episode I didn't know I wanted it until I saw it. The Avengers with mech suits, Gundams, basically. Oh my God, give me more of that show. Yeah. But like overall, no, I enjoyed the episode. It was a friendship and a companionship I didn't know. I realized I didn't want it until I saw, like, oh my God, yeah, Stan Wilson and Bruce Banner. Yeah, Brains with the Brawn, Army dude with the scientist guy. So there's some great storytelling there, you know? But overall, I like that they still leaned on the beast within Banner, you know, because that's always going to be his crux, his cross to bear. Like, he's always going to have to deal with the Hulk. And I thought this was a really interesting way that they kind of portrayed that, because there was like a what if, like, Banner split himself from the Hulk. Yeah. That's happened multiple times in the comics, you know. But like, this was a really interesting take on it. I appreciated it. I liked it.
I like the designs of the mechs. I like seeing this little Avengers team. I like the designs of the Gamma Beasts and stuff. I thought those were really cool as well.
They look like a bunch of Gigantos.
Yeah, a little bit. They got a little bit of Abomination in there as well. And
right? Yeah.
I did kind of laugh when Sam is doing his speech and the Hulk goes all the way down and he's like, his eye is like right on top of Sam as he's listening to this.
I was fearful at that moment because I was like, oh my God, he's going to eat him. He's going to eat Sam. Yeah. Oh my
God. But, you know, they always remain that Bruce is always inside and that he's, you know, he's still in control ultimately at the end of the day. And no harm, no foul, you know, eventually. You can't really blame Banner. Like you just said, that the Hulk is just always going to be something that's inside of him. And you got to admit, it's kind of got to be hard to be Bruce Banner. Because I'll tell you, if anyone can relate to how stress turns you into a monster, It's this guy.
Ooh.
And doing even ComicBookClique, the podcast, it can be stressful putting out new content, meeting deadlines, hosting meetings as we do. As you know, I used to be a hardcore coffee drinker, a habit I picked up during my army days. And back then, I believed that just a cup of coffee was the only thing that could keep me focused and on task. I simply put up with the negative side effects like anxiety and restlessness because I thought it was a necessary trade off to get work done. You drink coffee, you get the jitters, you get a headache, and that's just that's what life is. But as a result, I ended up being very irritable and very jittery, and that's something that no one wants to deal with, and they didn't want to deal with me when I was in those moods. But we're living in a world of alternate timelines and infinite possibilities, and we live on a planet where there is a product called Magic Mind.
Ooh.
Now, the guys over at Magic Mind believe in the concept of mental wealth, which is the fancy way of saying they think of mental health as something that you should be investing in 24/7. That means being mindful of your sleep habits, the things that you eat, and the supplements and vitamins that you take as a way of investing in your mental health long term. It's through the guys at Magic Mind that I found out that caffeine doesn't really give you energy. It just blocks the brain receptors that tell you that you're tired. When those receptors get unblocked after 1 or 3 hours, however long the caffeine lasts, you then get that sudden energy drop, right? That caffeine crash. Exactly. Magic Mind, though, uses 12 active ingredients to keep your body's energy engine, the ATP, running smoothly day after day. And it's not just a quick boost. It's like a supercharge for a better today and obviously a better tomorrow because you're putting in that investment. Good thing is, this isn't some new age hocus pocus. These products have been developed with the help of top-notch team of doctors and medical researchers. Magic Mind has been in the works for over 10 years, going through hundreds of iterations to perfect the formula. There's no super soldier serum, gamma bomb stuff going on here. They've tested it enough. And they donate 5 cents of each bottle sold to mental health charities that help U.S. homeless communities. They're basically putting their money where their mouth is. And since I've been taking their focus shots, I have a new sense of mental clarity without all the crummy side effects of coffee. And their sleep aid shots lull me to sleep like I'm the Hulk and the sun's getting a little low. I'm telling you, bro, this newfound balance has me ready to tackle the world. But more importantly, it has me wanting our listeners to try this product themselves. The folks over at Magic Mind are bundling their sleep and focus shots at 45% off for first-time buyers when you use our exclusive link. Just head over to magicmind.com/cbookjan, comic book in January, to claim their deal. That's cbookjan, magicmind.com/cbookjan. So if you're like me and you're looking for ways to improve your mood, your energy, and your overall sense of being, get another lease on life, consider trying Magic Mind, because a mind, magic or otherwise, is a terrible thing. And I'm pretty sure if Bruce had some of this, he wouldn't be hulking out as he did.
Facts.
No? But let's move over to what if Agatha went to Hollywood?
Ooh, this episode was campy. I enjoyed it.
There was a lot of fun.
I love a good musical.
There was a lot of fun in this. So Agatha Harkness, chasing ultimate power, discovers Tiamat, the communicator buried beneath the earth. To pull off the ritual needed to steal celestial energy, she heads to Hollywood, teaming up with Howard Stark and starring in his Stark Pictures movie, Cosmic Queen. When her plan hits a snag, she convinces Stark to expand the production, much to Edwin Jarvis's frustration. To spice up the movie and her plan, Harkness recruits Bollywood star Kingo as her co-lead. Kingo dives in, and during a big dance-off sequence, he confronts Harkness, revealing he knows her true intentions. She shrugs it off, flaunting power she stole from his fellow Eternals. Their fight escalates, but Stark thinks it's all brilliant improv. Harkness defeats Kingo and offers him a deal. Help stop the emergence and she'll spare his friends. Kingo hesitates, knowing Arishem, the judge, won't forgive him, but Harkness seals the deal with a tempting 3-picture contract. All that matters in Hollywood, baby. Just as they shake on it, Arishem begins his descent to Earth. Harkness, Kingo, and Stark scramble to finish their quote-unquote production, moving to the Griffith Observatory after Stark casually buys it because he got bread like that. As Arishem arrives, Harkness uses Kingo's energy to tap into Tiamat's power, transforming into a god-like being. He takes on Arishem, eventually using runes to destroy him. Then comes the twist. She never planned to stop the emergence, she just wanted to rule the world. Kingo tries to reason with her, reminding her that movies, not fear, can inspire people, and after some hesitation, she starts to come around. At the Cosmic Queen premiere, Stark announces that he's quitting weapons to focus on filmmaking. Harkness and Kingo tease reporters about future battles, hinting that other Celestials might come seeking revenge. As the credits roll, the Watcher observes ominously, with Celestials looming in. Like you said, this one was just fun. It was an excuse to do the Bollywood stuff. It just is a reminder also about how long it's been since the Eternals came. We haven't touched on none of this. I haven't seen an Eternal since Eternals, right?
Yeah, no, they have. It's one of those end credits that have not paid off or sequel to a movie that's, I'm still waiting on Shang-Chi too. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, they were doing the Shang-Chi theme stingers in the Western episode. And I was like, he did have a kind of a banger theme. I was like we need to go. Like he did that. They did nothing wrong. Both those films. And I actually saw a interview with a guy who plays Kingo, which is Mel Nanjiani. I was just stalling until my mind made the connections. But Kingo, he said that Marvel was so excited for the release of Eternals that they did their not test screenings, the embargo. They lifted the embargo early. And that they also footed the bill for a huge international promotional tour. When they do the Hot Ones and they do the, the Kimmels and all that kind of stuff, right? So he says they were doing their promotional tour while the bad reviews were coming out.
Ooh.
So it wasn't like,
it
wasn't like he did it. Then everyone saw the film and he was literally being approached by reporters and stuff like, hey, how do you feel about it not doing too hot? And he thinks that it kind of slowed things down in his career. This was something even echoed by Jesse Eisenberg, who said that his Luther portrayal kind of started to stagnate roles for him. Hollywood puts together these $1 million pictures, but if you're not a proven commodity, they end up not taking any more chances on you. But I liked Celestial Agatha in this. I thought that was really fun as well.
It was pretty dope. I like the whole, and once again, Agatha with the twists.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's actually here to rule the planet, but in the talk no jutsu, strong again.
Edwin
talked her down out of it.
Just Edwin Jarvis also does the three-peat now: animation, TV, and live action.
Hey, hat trick.
Might be the only person.
I think Auntie got it. Meaning.
Oh, yeah. Was she in TV?
She was in Agents of Shield. She was Mulan,
Yeah. She's in Shang-Chi. She's in several episodes of this. Yeah. Like that. Yeah, if you're chasing power, why not get the ultimate power? Right off the heels of Agatha. I thought that was pretty interesting. You know what I had a beef with also with this season? Their titles. I think they could have gotten to their titles easier.
A little bit. Like last year's titles were like pretty straightforward. You know what you're gonna get if you read the title.
This isn't what if Agatha went to Hollywood. This is what if Agatha wanted celestial power. Right? Because you could just go to Hollywood whenever. It has nothing to do with the Celestials or Kingo or any of that kind of stuff. But they hid, I feel like, the story underneath. What if Agatha went to Hollywood? I remember when the list came out and I saw that title, I was like, that doesn't it doesn't spark excitement, but it's because they're hiding something, and I guess they were hiding this like Eternals twist.
Right.
When do you think we'll see the Eternals again, or Arishem, or any of that stuff? Well, supposedly Tiamat's in Cap, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, hopefully we get an Eternals like end credit or something, because like this is kind of massive. Still, the reverberations of that film like are still being felt. Like nations are fighting over the body of a dead celestial that supposedly has or is made out of adamantium or has adamantium in it. Like the Eternals should step in at some point. Like you're fighting over our god's body. Like no, no, no. Let their people take the body or something. Like I don't know, but I do want to see more Eternals. Like the Eternals go in the comics, like their whole premise is crazy, and they changed it for the MCU like they change all things. But like just like the Inhumans, I want to see more of other groups. Can't wait for the X-Men, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. It just teased us with Storm, right? That just Storm. Madness.
Just Storm. I mean, they've been teasing mutants all throughout the multiverse saga, but like that Storm, okay, I don't know what list I read of these episodes, but I thought we were getting a pure "What if Storm was the goddess of thunder" episode. Like
I felt like it was that, and then like I have nothing to prove it now. Now that it's already been done, I have nothing to prove why I thought that. Besides seeing in the trailer when she's like, "And the powers of whatever," and again, like we're jumping ahead, but that voice is still chicken soup for the soul. There will be no other. There will be no other, man. That is what I hear every time I read a Storm in the comics. It's just
right,
that,
facts.
you know,
it's her voice.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
I am Storm, goddess of the cosmic winds. Like,
yes. And when she did all that, I was like, yo, I used to control the weather. Now I am the weather, or whatever she says later on. And I'm like, girl, get it. I'm not even mad. If the next one is any indication of how fun Thunderbolts can be, Thunderbolts is going to be great. Because we got What If Red Guardian stopped the Winter Soldier? I just think that character is hilarious. I think David Harbour plays a good Red Guardian. This is Deadpool and Wolverine. This is you know, like Bucky is the very serious, very very murderous, you know, Winter Soldier, and then you have this kind of happy-go-lucky. Like all of the Red Guardian stuff is incredibly dark. Like think about it, right? Like signing up for the government. It's just like Steve Rogers, but like the nega version. But then like having a fake family that you basically pawn off to Dracoff, you know, to have these women have their uteruses removed and trained to be elite killers, and while you're have a fake marriage and all that stuff. But they just put in like a real strong Russian accent and some jokes, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's a great barrel of laughs.
It's a great distraction from how he was in the comics. He was like, you know, Russia's Captain America.
Yeah.
So you know, just imagine a Russian. If all the archetypes of being a Russian super soldier.
In the comics, he's Natasha's husband or ex-boyfriend, not husband.
Ex-boyfriend, like in a couple universes, yeah, like they dated, they were together, and even in that one animated movie, The Punisher Confidential, like they were together because he was a scientist, gave himself the serum, and he became Red Guardian.
And someone in the writers' room was like, "Nah, let's make it her dad." like I get that there's multiple versions where they date, but let's make her dad. You know what, bro? This is even a little bit of tangent. Are they ever gonna address like the whole Hawkeye Natasha thing? I feel like they flirted around with that a lot, and also on top of that, the Natasha Winter Soldier thing,
and also the Natasha Hulk thing.
Yeah. What the hell's going on here? Sun's getting real low. Because you remember the whole like, oh yeah, you do remember me from like from Bucky stuff, you know, like, and I was like, oh, what is that on there? Two Russians, you know, working on the side of evil. Maybe they chilled once or twice. She was like, she's the one who told Steve the legend of the Winter Soldier. She's the one who knew about all that stuff.
Because of the fact that it was one of the few missions she failed because Bucky shot through her to kill the scientist, and then she's like,
yeah.
More bikinis.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, like Russia is so crazy. Not to try to get political here.
Yeah, right.
Fuck, Russia is fucking crazy. Real life and comics.
It could be a bit intense. So in the 1980s, Red Guardian is assigned a low-level mission in Ohio, much to his frustration. Feeling undervalued, he steals This is Deadpool. He steals intel about a Soviet sleeper agent, the Rook, determined to prove his worth. Meanwhile, the Rook. Meanwhile, Hydra reactivates the Winter Soldier to retrieve. I did not like that they didn't have subtitles. Whatever. Reactivates the Winter Soldier to retrieve Howard Stark's super soldier serum. Both men cross paths during the Stark mission, clashing before fleeing the scene as authorities close in. I like how he was like, "You don't have to kill them. They just said to take the, the serum."
Right?
And I was like, "Oh yeah."
Right? You didn't have to kill Howard. I think that was just Hydra being dicks.
Not only like the Howard stuff is rough, but literally walking over to strangle the mom was next level.
That was
He was like, I guess I got to do this too, and walked over and was like, "No, just." Shh. He pulled the old Oz Cobb. You know what I'm saying? The old Oz Cobb going on over there. Yeah, right. Shield, led by Bill Foster, begins investigating, uncovering the presence of super soldiers. Foster grows suspicious of a larger conspiracy, while Red Guardian and Winter Soldier reluctantly team up to follow Rook's trail to Las Vegas. Along the way, they evade Shield and share moments of vulnerability. Winter Soldier begins to recall fragments of his past, while Red Guardian reflects on his loyalty to a system that may not value him. Like I said, I think it got really cool there, where they kind of were seeing each other as things other than fucking weapons that get pointed at people. And this is like the most Bill Foster we've gotten in a while too. Like he's just in the wings.
Right?
I don't think they're ever actually gonna make Homeboy I don't think they're ever gonna make Homeboy suit up. He's in every season. He was in the remember the old Avengers when they get Peter Quill and whatever. They getting a lot of mileage out of Bill Foster, more mileage than they ever got out of him in the MCU.
I mean, Lawrence Fishburne, he's a massive nerd. Like, I'm sure if they asked him, I'm sure he will suit up for Secret Wars.
I think so too. The only thing is, the biggest thing I know Bill Foster for is getting killed in Civil War.
Right.
Is when Ragnarok puts a thunderbolt through his heart, and then they can't move the body because he can't pin back down because he's dead, and they got to figure out how they're gonna deal with this big ass body.
Right, and they just bury him in a giant hole, like wrapped in cloth. Like, damn,
that's absolutely disrespectful. So, in Vegas, they find the Rook, and it's Obadiah Stane. I don't know what I was listening to, maybe New Rock Stars or something, but they were saying like Obadiah Stan or something like that, and that was getting me so mad. I was like, they've said the name a million times, don't get it wrong now. Stane reveals that he is a Soviet spy, but a self-serving opportunist who manipulated both Red Guardian and the Winter Soldier to eliminate the Starks and secure Stark Industries for himself. Betrayed and disillusioned, the duo fights back. I loved all the Red Guardian, like, "You're a capitalist?" Like, he was like, "Mother Russia?" Like, he was really offended. He really felt bad about that. Yeah, he was treating a Rook like he was his like favorite superhero or whatever that he never met before, and then he really don't ever meet your heroes. This is what happens. Find out that they're capitalists.
But it's crazy, like they introduced the fact that Obadiah Stane was behind Howard and Maria's deaths because he was also almost behind Tony's death.
Yeah.
In 2008's Iron Man. Like, so, like, if Obadiah really was in the background trying to kill the Starks to take over the company since like the 90s, the 80s. Like, crazy.
And it's like a Marvel thing because that's also similar to the origin story of Iron Fist, is the idea that his dad's business partner, right, get him out, crashes the plane or whatever, gets him crashed over in Kunlun or whatever. So that was just happening all willy-nilly in Marvel. Business partners just getting at each other. I also saw a meme that was like, why do they keep making like the capitalist inventors all look the same? You know, the pencil thin black mustache and the black hair combed over, and then they showed a picture of Walt Disney. And they're like, that's why. They're all just Walt Disney. So betrayed and disillusioned, the duo fight back and with Winter Soldier killing Stane. However, their actions alert both S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Red Room, leading to a chaotic showdown on the Las Vegas Strip. During the battle, Winter Soldier reveals that Dreykov ordered him to kill Red Guardian, but he defied his command. When the Red Room forces When Red Room forces try to reopen the Winter Soldier program, or reprogram Winter Soldier, Red Guardian helps him resist, cementing their bond. Reminiscent of the Dora Milaje sort of scene where they're,
Yeah.
Together they defeat the Red Room agents and Goliath, allowing Foster and Shield to take Karpov and the other operatives into custody. Winter Soldier is recaptured by Hydra and subjected to further memory suppression. Red Guardian, now disillusioned with his past allegiances, stays in the U.S., blending into civilian life as a gym teacher. Bill Foster eventually approaches him, returning his shield and inviting him to join the Avengers. Red Guardian ultimately accepts joining the team during the Battle of New York. Very funny scene of him being put back in there. But yeah, like I said, I think this is just a reminder of how funny I think him and Bucky are going to be in that film. I think they have a lot in common. Same thing with Yelena. I want to see Yelena and Bucky together, right? Like those two probably have a ton in common. Literally brainwashed, Russian army, operative, dead friends, all of it.
Missing body parts.
Yeah.
Rather outside or inside.
This was a buddy cop episode, it felt like.
Purely.
And I really dug the Red Guardian as comic relief. So that was really, really well done.
Always, like you said, David Arbor, he don't miss. He doesn't miss. And I also appreciated that they in every season there's always something that deals with the Red Room. Because last season, they combined basically Winter Soldier, Black Widow, and what was the other movie? Because and Captain America: The First Avenger. When they had to deal with the Red Room and he was floating above the fake town and stuff.
Yeah.
And then there was he was still in the Ironmonger suit or the what's the Hydra Stomper suit?
Hydra Stomper, yeah. And the thing is,
I appreciate that.
Just like the Eternals, those are things that opened up the world more, and we just never addressed them. Things like the Red Room. The Red Room literally fell out of the sky, and no one spoke about it. No one talked about it. And Yelena was supposedly going around and rehabbing widows. That was how the Black Widow thing ended. So I'm very interested to see. We'll see this year how Yelena fits into the Thunderbolts. I thought she was also with Taskmaster, so it would also explain that, how any of that comes together. So it'll be very interesting. But I like this little bit. I like this little buddy cop thing that went on there.
Mm-hmm.
We are now on to the most controversial episode of What If. What if Howard the Duck got hitched? This is the one that we posted about on Facebook and got a lot of traction for because people were like, "What the hell?" And what's funny is I had wrote the line, like it's less like "What if" and more like "What TF," and that's almost something that Uatu says like directly. Like he's looking at the opera Ultron or whatever, and he's like, "What the hell?" But yeah, this is.
I was hoping they grabbed him for the last episode. Like they needed an Ultron. I'm like, "Ooh, grab the Shotoon one."
Yeah, right.
He's hilarious.
So this one is actually a continuation of something that happened in season 1 with What If Thor Was an Only Child, which I also forgot was the name of that title. I always just think of like Party Thor. That's what I think of what that episode is, but it's actually What If Thor Was an Only Child. And so we know that when he was an only child in that universe, he threw a party of all parties, literally like the biggest intergalactic party on Earth. And at that wild party, Darcy Lewis and Howard the Duck find themselves parents-to-be when Darcy eventually lays an egg after their fun that they had at that party.
Right.
Yes. Going to laying an egg. Intrigued and uncertain about their child's nature, they are soon swept up in an intergalactic adventure after accepting an invitation to the Grandmaster's Grand Cruise Across the Stars. Like the Grandmaster's back. Also, he should be back in more things. The Grandmaster doesn't just disappear. He like hangs out.
I hope they introduce more his race, what they call it, the Elders of the Universe or whatever.
Yeah. Because isn't it him and the Collector who do Secret Wars in the first place?
They're a part of it, yeah. Oh, you talking about the first one or
I think it's like one of those.
one?
The first one is like a bet. the first one is like, what happens if I took the good and the bad and put them on an Earth and see what what would win? And it
Yeah,
was a bet between, I want to say, I can't remember specifically, but I want to say it was a bet between the Collector and the Grandmaster. They're brothers.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we've also
I
not
think
seen that
that's
in
it.
live
Yeah.
action as well. Anyway, we have not seen the Collector. We haven't seen the Collector since Infinity War.
Yeah, but that wasn't even the collector. That was a reality
Oh yeah,
version that Thanos made.
hundred
So
percent.
yeah, we had the collector since what, 2014? Since the first Guardians movie? For real?
That is a very long time.
Mm.
Um,
I hope they introduce more, like I said. Like they still got the runner, the champion, the challenger, like the gardener. Like there's so many of his species, I guess.
I re-
There's a lot of interesting storytelling there.
I remember when Thanos dealt with the gardener, that image is stuck in my brain. I see
Right?
the
From
Thanos
the
quest.
Infinity Gauntlet.
I mean, you know
Yeah,
what's
the whole
funny?
Thanos quest.
They could literally do that now. Like either in animation or in live action, it doesn't really matter. It's just the lead up to him getting to. I wanted to see what the hell he did to Xandar. I'll never forgive them for just like
Right?
yada yadaing past an
When,
entire planet's
when he went to
destruction.
Xandar and decimated it a week ago.
Yeah,
Just a line.
yeah, yeah. Because that thing was at the center of the Nova Corps base. That stone. So he would have to got
Mhm.
through the whole army, and it would have been cool to find out that there was one Nova Corps guy left, Richard Rider, and what happens with that. But we'll get there, I guess.
We'll get
Um,
there. There's a Nova series in development. We'll get there.
the Grandmaster's interest in the egg takes a sinister turn when it is revealed as a centerpiece of a brunch feast. Chaos erupts when Yandu of all people intervenes, stealing the egg for a hefty profit. Darcy and Howard pursue the Ravagers but lose them at a jump point. Seeking answers, Darcy contacts Nick Fury, who explains the egg's significance. Its conception during the convergence may signal the birth of a powerful cosmic being. This is kind of like the Messiah complex, where they got baby Hope and everyone's trying to get Hope because of,
Yeah,
of what's going down.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's that the celestial prima donna.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's so many stories that deal with someone super important, and everyone in the universe wants this motherfucker for whatever reason.
Yeah, it's basically Keep Away, but with a baby.
But I
So
mean,
with an egg at first. We learned that Yondu sold the egg to Caecilius. You want to talk about people we haven't seen in a while?
right.
Caecilius. It's coming up to 10 years since Doctor Strange came out. Yeah. Caecilius plans to use it as a host to resurrect Dormammu. It was cool to see Dormammu again. Howard and Darcy infiltrate the Zealots' hideout on Nowhere just as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents Fury and Coulson arrive to seize the egg. Battle ensues, spiraling into the mirror dimension. Amidst the chaos, the Ducks reclaim their egg and flee, pursued across the galaxy by an ivory alert issued by S.H.I.E.L.D. Seeking refuge, Howard and Darcy turn to Loki, who shelters them on Jotunheim. However, Laufey claims the egg to restore Jotunheim's glory, and Zeus, of all people, descends. Like, oh, I know who this is. I know it's Zeus, of all people. And he declares his own claim to the egg. Chaos intensifies as Malekith, the Black Order, the Grandmaster, even Thanos join the fray, leading to a massive battle. As the warring factions close in, Howard and Darcy sing a heartfelt kiss ballad to their unborn child. The egg begins to glow, emitting energy bolts to protect its parents. It finally hashes, unleashing a powerful shockwave that halts the chaos. Their child, Birdie, is born, an extraordinary being of light and energy. Fury concedes that Birdie is safest with her parents. Loki negotiates peace with Laufey, offering the Ducks a home on Jotunheim, but they choose to return to Earth. Settling into their quiet life, the family puts Birdie to bed, marveling at the incredible journey that brought them together. If you would have asked me, this was a episode directed by James Gunn. The talking animals the joke, but the jukebox stuff. What song was it? Can you remember?
No, I gotta rewatch it
Oh,
again.
it's Made for Loving You, right? I was
Oh,
made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. I mean, like I
This
said,
is
I
like a
rock.
James Gunn episode.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I rock with that. I rock with that. This was fun. Like even for all of its like you have to get past the concept. But I feel like once you get past the concept, I feel like this was a ball of fun. I think that the music definitely helped getting that license to have that song in there. This is the only thing that I'm a little bit whatever about. Um, it has been said that in Fantastic Four first, Natasha Lyonne will be. She's in an undisclosed role. What are
I
the
saw.
odds? What are the odds? What are the odds that Birdie is in Fantastic Four First Steps? Is that possible?
I mean, well,
Would they
from
just
what I've
randomly have her
gathered,
play randomly play two different characters?
I mean, from what I've gathered about the first steps, spoiler alert if I'm right,
Right.
that universe is gonna end. So
Yes.
like maybe like during the end of it, the exiles show up to save the Fantastic Four, and then boom, they just end up in Battle World and Secret Wars. That's where we see them next. Like
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out there.
They're not, I see. Like
I can't see.
I don't think that they're against a live action Kahori. I think that's extremely
Oh yeah,
possible.
no.
I think the only thing that might mess that up is whether or not they're ready to commit to Storm. That's the biggest to me, thing or whatever. But they literally could just show up without her and pull a sequel to First Class where they're like, "Yeah, sorry, crazy what happened to Storm, right?" Like where they just they deal with it with a line.
Right, but also, they had a photo like Thor and T'Challa were part of the exiles. So I'm like, there was a strong lineup. So maybe it's just a team, but just like you said, displaced people from different timelines trying to save the multiverse. So just interchangeable people, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. It could be literally randos. You could put Casey on there from TVA. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the TVA starts working with the Exiles, right? It all
Right.
put all those
Throwing
pieces
Ghost
together.
Spider, maybe Gwenpool. Oh wait,
That
those are
makes,
both Stacy's.
but it makes a lot of sense with the whole Deadpool Wolverine thing, right? Like you guys are on ice, but we might need you later on, kind of thing. They could be part of an Exiles kind of team if that universe is threatened. That's interesting. But yeah, I kept thinking, I'm just like, they kept saying Natasha Lyonne's going to be in the Fantastic Four movie in an undisclosed role. Then they just randomly introduce her not only into the MCU, but like as a part of the final act team, as an original character that they own. Marvel Studios owns. Marvel Comics is, they've never been a character in Marvel Comics. Really interesting stuff. But let's go into one of my favorite episodes. What if the emergence destroyed the Earth?
Oh, such a good episode. I was not expecting this episode to be as good as it was. Because like I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Honestly. I'm just expecting like the Avengers to fail, and then there's like living out in like space colonies or something. But
Yeah.
it took a real dark turn in this episode.
This episode and the other ones in this season have done more to deal with the Phase 4 characters than anything else. We got Riri, we got Shang-Chi, we got the Eternals, we got the Celestials. Yeah, you understand?
Celestials.
But we ain't got none of that in the MCU. We waiting on all these guys to come back. They got Kate on a post-credit for the Marvels 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
That's a time, bro. I was literally, I think it was, I can't remember what it was exactly that I was watching. It might have been the trailer for Cap 4. But I'm like, why does it feel like it's been so much time in between these projects when it hasn't? They've just been giving us so much. But I felt like by Phase 1, we had spent a good amount of time with those 6. And then when they do the Avengers movie, you're like, okay, I'm down. But for this, it just feels like everybody's so scattered. I don't know how you put a team together. They've not put the breadcrumb down for how or why anyone would contact anyone in this. And who would? Without Fury, is Sam supposed to make the team work for himself? Like, who makes that call to reband the Avengers? Is it Hulk because he's an OG?
Right? Where's Thor?
Oh yeah. Thor. Does he care to be part of a team with everything? He has a daughter now. He's dealing with stuff like that. So maybe he's not even.
Right? He has a. Does the Avengers know that Thor has a daughter now, and the Hulk has a
And
son?
the Hulk has a son and a cousin who is now powered. There's a lot of
So
stuff,
much
bro. There's a lot
that
of
has
stuff to
to
answer.
happen.
There's a lot of stuff to answer.
You know, I'm glad the Russo brothers are directing both Doomsday and Secret Wars because they're great at storytelling. They're going to address a lot of these things because they did it in Infinity War, Civil War, Winter Soldier. Like they addressed a lot of those issues and things like from Age of Ultron and like the first Avenger and like uh well, oh my God, blanking. And in Thor.
Yeah.
Like they addressed a lot of the characters like issues and grievances that they had, like with Thor and his mom. He resolved that issue. Like when they went back to get the reality stone. Like that was great. And I think they're gonna do that again. They have to.
You know what's funny about that? I did some research on that, and it's a combination of the Russos, but it's also the writers Marcus and McFeely, right?
Yes,
And
sir.
Marcus and McFeely have written every single Cap film from the very beginning to now. Marcus and McFeely have also written Thor: The Dark World. So if you are wondering when you watch those two movies why there's so much of a focus on Cap and why there's so much of a focus, they literally go back to Thor: The Dark World, the movie that no one fucks with, just so Thor can have a really good moment with his mom.
Because that's crazy. I fucks with Dark World because that was like the most interaction we got between until Ragnarok. That really expanded on their like. Well, it showed like how the relationship was growing up, and like how they handle it as adults, and it set them up further in Ragnarok and Infinity War ultimately. But like it really showed the dichotomy between both characters. Like just off the simple premise of what if I was raised equally to my brother, or what if I didn't think so low of myself that I was equal? Like Odin actually had a purpose for me to be the king, to unite two worlds.
Yeah.
But I was just a dick because I thought he loved me less because I found out the truth.
Yeah. I thought all of that was really good. I thought the Loki fake out death was really good. I thought the Loki finding out about his mom dying was really good. I just think that you literally start to like roll your eyes and check your watch whenever Malekith is on screen. I think that I don't think that they did that character justice. And Malekith, I had only known Malekith from Dark World until I read Jason Aaron's Thor. And in Jason Aaron's Thor, Malekith is nothing to play with. That man is not like, he is despicable and cold-hearted and cold-blooded, and from the like out the mud. Like he is like from the bottom. He is the accursed, and he scratches his claws and kills his way to get some prominence. But
facts. He started a whole war between 10 different realms.
Yeah.
Like
they looked at his entire rogues gallery and they gave that to Malekith. So like I wish like they kind of burned his face a little bit in this to kind of give him the half and half, whatever, in the Dark World, but it is what. So in What If the Emergence Destroyed the Earth, this episode kicks off in a messed up world where an army of drones called the Iron Federation patrol the streets. We meet Riri Williams, aka Ironheart, who's headed to a motel as the Watcher explains that she fails her mission in every version of this reality. Riri meets up with Sharon Carter to grab a crucial part from an easy bake oven. Turns out it's a key piece for whatever she's trying to build. Again, Power Broker did more with the Power Broker now than they have. Like what's the eventual end there? Why should I care that Sharon Carter is the Power Broker if I don't know, if there's nothing to come of it? Very strange. Things take a turn when the Power Broker betrays her. Yeah. And the Iron Federation starts closing in. As it turns out, a lot of them are just holograms. Riri escapes in a makeshift suit, but her troubles don't end there. Enter White Vision, who attacks Riri.
Ooh, terrifying.
Yes, basically the Terminator.
Terrifying. Yes.
Or the
with
other
vibranium.
one. The other one, the liquid metal one. The one.
Oh my God! What was that? Not the 1000. What is that one? I forget, but I know what you're talking about.
Me too. But you know how like relentless he was. Absolutely relentless he was.
Oh my God! This literally, I still have nightmares about that.
Yeah, and this one doesn't emote. I don't even think it spoke.
Nope.
No, it's just it's just terrifying. and just coming through. And now that I'm looking at the names here, are only attacking minorities. What's going on here?
Like literally, like the whole time I was like, "Come on, the ship of Theseus, Vision, the ship of
Yes,
Theseus,
yes, figure it out.
chill."
Yes, it looks like he's only attacking minorities because I have enter White Vision who attacks Riri just as she's about to be overwhelmed. Wong, Okoye, Valkyrie, and Ying Nan swoop in to save her. So it's an all minority left team. This isn't your typical Earth, though. It's a broken version of our world where Tiamut's emergence happened years before the Eternal stopped it, causing Earth to literally fall apart. In this reality, Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, took over Stark Industries after Earth got wrecked by Tiamut's birth. He built the Iron Federation and now controls it to keep the survivors in check. But Beck's dying
Crazy.
and wants to wipe out anyone standing against him. I love the idea of a souped up Mysterio.
Man, right? Just any of Spider-Man's villains just getting a start upgrade is
Yeah.
automatically their threat level is heightened.
Yeah.
Like it was some good, that was a really good story just because of the like I was not expecting this like to a Mysterio of all people to survive
Yeah.
and then take over Stark Industries because like the whole time I was wondering like wait why was one of the drones a hologram?
Yeah.
Why the whole time? Like until the reveal, and I'm like, that makes so much sense now. That's crazy.
I also think it's a pretty sick visual seeing him plugged up the way he is. Like just alone,
Yeah.
sitting down on his little throne, plugged up with all these cables coming out of him. It's really,
Very
really
reminiscent
cool.
of a lot of scenes.
Yeah, and really cool of like a sci-fi sort of, right? A sci-fi visual right there. Riri is tasked with making a device to kill White Vision. Her new team buys her some time, but they're quickly wiped out by the Synthezoid. Like, and killed. Like, let me reiterate, they die. Like, he kills them. This is not a show where they're like, oh, they got knocked down or whatever. Like, Vision is down for the kill. Riri finishes the device, and together, and I love while she's doing it, she's basically cursing. Like, stupid thing, freaking work. They want me to build this in like 3 minutes. How the hell am I supposed to? Really making me laugh. Riri finishes the device, and together they plan to destroy the nanites powering Beck's illusions. The Watcher, though, is downhearted knowing Riri is about to face her fate. Riri merges with White Vision's tech to become a human synthezoid, and for a moment, things look like they might work. But then her suit fails, and she's left unable to see through Beck's vision. Her team tries to hold off the Iron Federation while she gets closer to Beck, but it turns out that was all part of Mysterio's plan anyway. Riri walks right into a prison cell. Beck reveals that he uploaded the illusion-controlling nanites into himself, meaning he can control illusions with his mind. Again, super powered. Thing is, it's killing him, so he wants to merge with White Vision to become immortal and the master of illusions. Riri fights back, but soon she discovers none of this is real. She's still stuck in an asteroid field. Wong, Okoye, Valkyrie, and Yingnan are dead, and everything after White Vision's defeat was just an illusion. Really just took us back like, damn.
Just damn, that's cruel.
Yeah. The Watcher feels powerless as he watches Riri face her doom again, but he can't hold back and urges her to keep fighting. Riri
Fight.
Yes. Riri mad because he was like, you know what? That's my sister right there. And he was like,
Yeah. Like, you only watch someone fail so many times before you actually intervene. Like,
yeah,
because he said he's seen it hundreds of times. Like, he's seen this play out hundreds of times. But now, fight, Riri. Fight.
and you also see how important it was for him to, or at least for the Watchers in general, not to intervene. It was a huge deal for him not to intervene. And he's just compelled to. Is the outlier. Riri manages to defeat Beck, breaks his illusions, and projects the Avengers logo into the sky, giving other survivors hope. Beck dies and the day is saved, but there's a twist. 3 new Watchers, the Incarnate, the Executioner, and the Eminence, are now keeping an eye on Uatu because he's been interfering a little bit too much. I was not aware that there were other versions of the Watcher.
Yeah, no, he comes from a race of beings that are just like him, and then he was like, yeah, let's use our tech and stuff to intervene or help this race. backfired, so they became the Watchers.
Yeah. I think it was is it House of M where they're all having the conversation and Tony's like, "Ah, damn." They're like, "What?" And like, he's here, and when he's here, that means it doesn't mean something good's gonna happen.
That's
I can't remember what
happened.
happened. It was like a lot.
That's happened so many times in comics where Watu would just pop up out of nowhere. He's popped up in X-Men, Iron Man, the Avengers, Thor, like,
Mhm.
bruh, Doctor Doom.
And the idea is that he is terrible at his job, right? In all these iterations, is the idea that he is supposed to be an impartial watcher, but he can't help himself. So I think that's pretty funny. Then, um, I also really like this episode as well. I just wish it wasn't the villain was a little different. It's what I would say. I like the setting. Um, and I think a little bit of me was getting excited because the villain purports to be the Hood, and that's a character that's supposed to be making his debut in Ironheart this year, played by Anthony
Yeah.
Ramos. So I was hoping to get a little bit more on that, but ultimately the Hood is not in this episode at all. But let's get into it. What if 1872? The Watcher narrates that the furthest reaches of the multiverse are home to some truly bizarre realities, like a Wild Wild themed one where chaos reigns. This episode, we explore a twisted alternate version featuring Shang-Chi and Hawkeye. It is revealed that Zhu Xiling, Shang-Chi's sister, fled to America seeking a better life, only to fall victim to the villainous Hood, who uses immigrants to further his own agenda, targeting them as scapegoats in his pursuit of power. Shang-Chi embarks on a quest to find his sister while Kate Bishop is in her own revenge mission to avenge the death of her family at the Hood's hands. Their journey leads them to a desolate township where they meet Jun Fa, a young boy who claims that the Hood left on a ghost train. The pair follow his lead and discover that the train is powered by stolen Stark and Hammer tech. Inside, brainwashed immigrants, including Zhu Xiling, are under the Hood's control. They also encounter Sonny Birch, of all characters to come back. Sonny
Of
Birch,
all people.
was revealed to be working for the villain, and he's talking, and I'm like, "Is that Walton Goggins?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, Walton Goggins is in the MCU. He was stealing Hank Pym's stuff." After a tense confrontation, the heroes are captured and brought before the Hood. Jun Fan narrowly escapes but is pursued by Birch's men. As things seem dire, the Watcher intervenes and Shang-Chi confronts the Hood. The battle escalates as the Hood turns invisible, but Shang-Chi unmasks him to reveal Zhu Xiling's face. She killed the Hood and assumed his powers. Determined to reshape America, she leads an army of brainwashed followers. This is one of those things that kind of reminded me of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where like the villain is right, but then they are jerks. So no one really cares that they're right.
Right, just goes about it all wrong.
Yeah, because they quite literally did use Chinese laborers to construct the railroads and tossed anyone aside who got injured or gravely got mauled by the machinery or passed out during the construction. Like they treated them like fodder, and then everybody else went to the bank. So the idea of setting it at this time, making Shang-Chi a Chinese hero in the era of the West, really interesting stuff. They just don't say anything about it because, they can't make, his sister right. So.
Right. I wish they leaned more with. I wish they did more with June Fa's character because I looked it up because like his name was so familiar.
Yeah.
I looked it up. He was the Iron Fist of 1878.
Oh, you know what's funny? People kept saying he was an Iron Fist, and I thought that they were suggesting that he was the new one that they just created.
Oh no, that's Lee Fang. I
No,
think
Li
that's
Fang
Lee
is
Fang.
somebody else. Is it Li Fang? But he says,
Right, that's what I'm like.
as he's doing his like karate thing, don't he? They say something like,
I know he says like wasting, and he says a bunch of like just animal
no,
bug poses.
but they say something like, this kid has fists of iron or something like that. They say something very on the nose about that. Lin Lai? Is it Lin Lai?
Oh, Lin Lee.
Lin Lai, Lin Lee. Looking for I'm trying to look for more variants. Might be Lin. Um, it's kind of funny that they haven't touched on that at all. They haven't touched on Iron Fist at all since we closed down the Netflix shop on it.
Right. Here's
Really,
hoping to come back.
really, really interesting. Yeah, they gotta eventually get to gosh, what Kung Lung, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Kunlun, because like that disappeared. Like he split the power between him and Misty, or not Misty, Colleen, so she can do the Iron Fist shit.
Oh man, that was so cool. And then
Right?
they met up with Orson Randall or whatever.
Mm, yeah.
Ridiculous. It was so close, so close. Um, so after a tense confrontation, the heroes are captured by the Hood. Jun Fan narrowly escapes but is pursued by Birch's men. As things seem dire, the Watcher intervenes and Shang-Chi confronts the Hood. The battle escalates as the Hood turns invisible, but Shang-Chi unmasks him to reveal Zhu Ziling's face. Like I said, she killed the Hood. Meanwhile, Birch confesses to killing Kate's parents and uses a pocket watch to control her. This watch took forever to work. And I kept wondering, why is she just like kind of standing there? But maybe it was like a thing of like getting slowly drugged kind of stuff. You know, maybe
Mm,
that's what it was. But he dead ass was sitting there and expositoring, right? Expositing about this whole watch situation. Like, oh yeah, the watch. You hear it? Yeah, it's gonna make you brainwash. Oh, by the way, I killed your parents. Like he's having a full conversation. Um, Jun Fan disrupts the mind control by ringing a bell, allowing Hawkeye to knock out Birch. In the final confrontation, Shang-Chi attempts to reach his sister, but she's too far gone. This is kind of wild because it's like, all right, and she's like, I'm gonna kill you, and he's like, well, I'm not gonna kill you because you're my sister, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of lit,
aw.
whatever. And then you just hear a gunshot, and Kate just walks up and it's on site. She saw her man Shang-Chi fighting somebody. So she let off with the bullets. I don't really blame her.
Facts.
But then it's revealed that it's her sister, and she's literally like, "Oh my god, I am so sorry." And he's like, "Well, you didn't kill her, the Hood." And I was like, "That's kind of I get that. Kind of
Easy, but right.
yeah. I mean, she did. She did kill her. Like technically, we're getting put in the courts. But yes, I can see how you would think that the Hood killed her, a long time ago. The episode ends with a bittersweet moment as Shang-Chi doesn't blame Kate and the two heroes ride off into the sunset. However, the Watcher's interference does not go. Oh, because he saves the kid, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he saves the kid, and that was it. That was one act too far. He is captured by the Eminence, and ominous shards of the observational plane spill into the multiverse. They like yoke him up, and they push him against they yoke his ass up, and they push him against the thing, and they're like, "Yo, it's really good." And shards of the observational plane spill into the multiverse, and then that basically then gives us our two-part finale, which is, what if the Watcher disappeared, and what if? What do you think of this cowboy episode?
Once again, I like the theme. Like it just showed, the multiverse and all its crazy possibilities. Like, there's a futuristic world, there's a Wild West world, there's a zombie apocalypse, post-apocalyptic. Like, so but I just wish there was more of the episode. Like I like the fact that they combined Shang-Chi's story and the Wild West. That's dope. Far East meets the Wild West. We've seen that so
Yeah.
many times. What's it called? High Noon, Shanghai High Noon or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
I would like to have seen different other characters in the same setting. Because you see John Walker,
Yeah,
that's how it starts, right? It's John Walker's there, you know.
right. I would like to see like more Avengers in the Wild West, besides just Kate and Shang. How would Moon Knight would be in this universe?
I also miss Kate. I miss you, girl. And she kills it in cowboy gear. I'll also say that as well. And don't let Shamik Moore bother you, girl. Is all I got to say. Don't let Shamik Moore, bother you just because he fell in love with you for a little bit. I know it happens, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. So now we are on What If the Watcher Disappeared? The episode starts with Nova Corps battling a giant tentacle monster that is tearing apart their city. A soldier calls for Nova Prime, but is killed before she can respond. Enter Nebula, who arrives to find the monster hovering above the city. She orders Groot and Korg to evacuate, but Korg explains that the monster has destroyed the jump point network, so no ships can enter or leave. But then a ship enters, and it's Peggy Carter. And I'm like, oh, okay, hey, what's going on, girl?
Now, to be fair, that's not just no regular ship.
No.
That was Kang's time chair.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
How the hell did they get that?
Exactly. Yeah. And are there multiversal time chairs?
Right?
Is he the Kang to ever do that? Is he the first Kang to ever do that? Because the idea is that they all kind of do it, and then they meet each other. They're like, hey, what are you doing here? And then they start to fight. But this is also another kind of like, I feel like this is another dig, right? Where it's like, well, if he's gone, then he's gone. Like, we're using his chair. It is
right, but hey, he was a thing.
Yes, yeah.
Don't forget that.
Peggy radios her team and tells them she has eyes on the Hydra champion, so Nebula misreads and thinks that she's referring to her. Peggy clarifies that she means the monster, explaining that unless they work together, Nebula's world will be destroyed. Nebula reluctantly agrees, and Peggy's crew arrives. Birdie the Duck, Kahori, and Storm, played by Ali Seeley Smith.
And talk about a entrance. That is how you introduce a character.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
Real badass. That Asgardian gear looks awesome on her. And again, that voice, just all the gravitas in that voice, just, I believe that she could command the forces of nature. Just by sheer will. But yeah, they end up, Storm uses her powers to help control the creature, and together they defeat it. As they prepare to leave, shards from the observational plane where the Watcher resides rain down from the sky. Peggy and Kahori realize this means the Watcher is in danger. Danger is so great that it's even bleeding into their universe. Instead of the usual monologue from the Watcher, we hear from the Eminence, who believes every choice creates a consequence, not a possibility. He's furious that the Watcher recruited Peggy to stop the multiverse from collapsing, and warns that if Peggy's team is a threat, he'll stop them, and the Watcher will be held accountable. Meanwhile, on the ship, Peggy and Storm figure out that the shards are from the fifth dimension. They recall the last time something like this happened was when Infinity Ultron attacked the observational plane. Since the Watcher hasn't contacted them, Peggy suspects that he's in trouble and they need to investigate the fifth dimension. Birdie upgrades their ship to help with the interdimensional jump, but the test pod explodes, destroying one shard. Storm tries to use Mjolnir to appeal to the Asgardian gods, but the explosion destroys the second shard. That was a pretty badass scene, though. And then
the whole ritual with the metal.
Yeah.
Birdie's reaction.
Yeah, that was the best one, right? It's like, it's gone. And he's like, well, you did hit it with a big hammer. He's like, what did you think was going to happen? You hit it with a big hammer. With no other options, Kahori suggests they call on Infinity Ultron, who's the only being to successfully travel to the fifth dimension. Peggy plans to capture one of the Ultrons, reprogram its AI, and force it to open a portal to the fifth dimension. They also have reset charges from the TVA as a backup plan, so it could kill them all. They just say that, like,
right? I'm like, so y'all worked with the TVA or did something with the TVA that ended up with y'all getting timeline reset charges?
Is this the first time? Is this the first time they've suggested that those guys are working together?
Yeah, that was the first when he said, "Yeah, we're just gonna get some TVA charges and prove in his universe." Like, what? You said that so casually.
But it goes back to what I'm saying, right? This idea that they might be trying to fold these guys in. Like,
right?
Maybe we're supposed to pop for the MCU characters, the Fox characters, and the What If guys are all gonna come together and do a thing. That'd be cool if they could do that with the people that are seemingly quote unquote dead. You know, those actors. Maybe we get a What If Maria Hill, get her ass back in here. She should have never died in fucking Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion, right? That was a very unceremonious, like,
Everyone
death.
got
Like,
fake
it
outs for
shocked me.
her. Everyone got fake outs for Maria. Like, oh no, she's just faking it. Oh, that's a lot of blood. That is a lot of blood.
That's not a scroll.
It's a risky plan, but it's their only option to save the Watcher, so the team prepares for a high-stakes mission to save the multiverse. I feel like this episode can't stand alone. I feel like it's with the other one. If you watch this and then you were just like, oh, I had enough, and then just stop watching the show, you'd be like, what the heck is going on? I don't think it could stand alone. I think you need this other piece to it, which is what if. The episode begins with a flashback to when the Watcher first became one. Under the guidance of the Eminence, the Watcher learns that to fulfill his role, he must give up everything and turn into no one. They get a point to say that. Observing without judgment or emotion. This, however, has been repeatedly broken by our Watcher, and as a result, the Watcher and Peggy Carter are captured and face judgment. Before they can be punished, Infinity Ultron, the villain from Season 1, breaches the multiversal barrier and arrives in the fifth dimension, not to destroy, but to rescue the two captives. This moment felt like the moment Thanos talks about in Endgame. Like, it brought you, you guys all brought you to me. Because I still maintain that 0 to 100 when Vision becomes, or Ultron becomes Vision, or Ultron Prime, or whatever his name is, Infinity Ultron. That episode is one of the most 0 to 100 episodes I have ever seen in anything ever. It's like, oh, so Ultron won. Oh, so he has all the Infinity Stones. Oh, he is destroying the entire universe. Him and Captain Marvel are going into the core of the Earth. They explode the entirety of the Earth. He becomes so omnipotent that he sees the Watcher. He floats through space for thousands of years until he figures out there's more to see and more to conquer. He literally chomps down on a galaxy at one point. That thing goes 0 to 100. It's one of my favorite arcs in that first season, is the introduction of that character. And then the idea that, okay, now we're going to join this entire season to stop him. So the fact that they went back to this, well, I dig it. This was, to me, their greatest swing. So I dig that he's back. And I dig that they just found him hanging out thousands of years on a rock. And they're like, hey, can I help?
Right? Because, and that's what I appreciate about the multiverse. Because, like, even though it may seem like there's only one being, like, in the multiverse that's unique, every time they do an action or there's an opposite or something happening, like there's a universe where they didn't do that, so there's a variant of Ultron, Infinity Ultron, or multiple versions of him.
Yes,
that still exists.
Yeah, that's the idea about infinite possibilities. Infinite possibilities don't mean huge swings. Sometimes it's salt or pepper. So it's salt versus pepper, and that's a completely now branching timeline, and where you chose to do that instead of doing the other thing. So let me see. The Exiles, Birdie, Storm, and Kahori, recruited Ultron to free Peggy and the Watcher. After rescuing them, Ultron stays behind to confront the other Watchers, who quickly overpower him and set out to capture the ship. They eventually succeed, but just when it all seems lost, the Watcher has an idea. He forces the Exiles to take the Watcher's oath, transforming them into new Watchers and granting them powers to level the playing field. It was cool to see the smoke settle and see them all with glowing eyes and stuff.
That was a dope shot.
And then they're rocking their Power Ranger armor now that they have on now. Watcher puts on his shit too. So that was funny.
It was a great fight too. Oh my god.
Yeah, literally the multiverse is in balance here. As the epic battle unfolds, but despite their efforts, the Exiles are outmatched. The three evil Watchers unite to erase them from existence. They're like literally just spinning in a.
That scene. I was doing
amazing.
I did all the things from Monsters Inc. when Sully was looking through the mirror and he thought like old girl was dying. I was just like,
yes.
Like I was like, look at how Apocalypse, Kahori, Sabretooth Peggy, Electra Peggy. Like,
oh,
what?
just when getting hit, and every time they got hit, you saw variants pop up behind them. Really, really inventive stuff. Really, really inventive animation. Even the combined 3 watchers was a really cool visual, and seeing how they were, how they animated all that was really, really cool stuff.
It was giving Living Tribunal when they were combined.
I don't think you're
Because
wrong.
at first I thought that's what their names were. But I had to look it up again. I'm like, oh, they're facing me like Equity, Death, and like something else. It's not, but it's reminiscent of it. It's 3 of them. It's always 3.
Faces on the
You
side,
know,
face in the middle, faces on the
yeah.
sides. So the 3 evil watchers unite, like I said, to erase them from existence. They start to fade. In a last-ditch effort, Captain Carter sends the battle to a dimension ruled by Doctor Strange. She's the only one that's able to kind of fight back against the combined powers of the Watchers and able to stand up. And she sends them into that dimension ruled by Doctor Strange, blocks the Watchers' power. This move saves the exiles, but Peggy sacrifices herself to ensure their survival, disappearing from existence. This is also when he says his name. Bro, am I tripping? Have they not called him a Watcher this entire time?
No, they just been calling him Watcher. Watch
Inter-
out! Watch out! You can hear me.
Interesting. Because I think we've been calling him a Watcher. I feel like.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, but like ever since the first season, he introduced himself as "I am the Watcher."
I am the Watcher. Interesting. He just has a bit of a tan more than the other guys. Uatu, now the leader of the exiles, tells the Eminence that the Watchers must do more than observe. They must understand the true meaning of the multiverse to protect it. After sparing the other Watchers' lives, Uatu honors Peggy's sacrifice by releasing her shield across the 5th dimension. The episode concludes with glimpses of new realities that Uatu will now watch over, including a 6-legged Spider-Man, Samurai Ghost Rider, Riri Williams as the Punisher, Thanos with Wolverine claws, and Maestro as the Sorcerer Supreme.
Weapon X Thanos.
Yeah, that was pretty
Jesus.
cool. That was pretty cool. Even though this series has concluded, it seems that our Watcher's journey has just begun. So yeah, I like I said, I think I like that they ended their arc. This was always supposed to be an anthology series. I kind of wish they didn't then go back in season 2. Maybe they shouldn't have made a branching season 2 finale, and then only have come back for this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's a strong effort all around. Again, my favorite season is season 1 because I'm twisted and I want dark endings that make you think. Where you go, damn, now what? What the hell's gonna happen now? Like,
that Hank Pym episode was crazy.
And then even the strange one of him killing demon after demon after demon, becoming a weird like Cthulhu creature. And
Eldridge, yeah.
Yeah, the ancient one coming to intervene, like, yo, Steven, you're getting a little bit too crazy around here. All that stuff was so good. It's a shame that this is ending, but it's left us with a lot of memories, a lot of great episodes. We've now covered all 3 seasons, so you can go and check out our past reviews of the past season. I thought a lot of the stuff that they showed in that last scene was pretty interesting as their own what ifs. I don't know why Thanos would need Weapon X, but like the idea of like the Maestro as Sorcerer Supreme is not too far off to like Hulk being the leader of that cult in Ultimates or whatever in the Ultimate Universe with Rising Sun or whatever.
Right.
Like imagine a Hulk as the Iron Fist.
Oh my God!
You understand? And he constantly has to do yoga or else he'll blow up the world. Like that. I think there's a bunch of still interesting stuff here, and at the very least, hopefully this series gets people excited to pick up What If comics, because we're currently going through a brand new run of What If. I don't know if you saw, released this month is a series of different heralds for Galactus.
I saw, yeah. Okay, I gotta check that out.
It's like what if Hulk was the herald and stuff like that. It's really, really interesting stuff there. So if this didn't really whet your appetite, if you dug this but you want more, the What If series has been going on for decades. They've made multiple What If series. I remember not too long ago they did that whole What If Spider-Man was the Punisher. He had like bullets for web shooters and stuff. So
that was dope.
Yeah, the creativity does not stop there. Consider getting into the comics for more wacky adventures. Speaking of wacky adventures in animation, we are be joining you guys next month for Feature Commandos, the very first project from the DCU. The dust has settled. We'll be covering that series in full. In preparation for all that's going to come next year, we're going to do a little bit of homework, cover things like Superman and Lois, which we missed last year. But then come super hard for all the stuff that we got. Captain America around the corner, Thunderbolts around the corner. My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man drops this month at the end of the month.
9 Marvel projects dropped this year, y'all.
Yes,
We're gonna cover them all.
exactly. And the only way to make sure that you guys are around while we cover them is to follow the Major Issues Podcast wherever podcasts are found. That's Podbean, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, the Apple Podcast app, TuneFi, YouTube, Spotify, and more. But we're also available at comicbookclique.com. It's the easiest way to get to us because all of our stuff is there. Not only is there a link to get to our merchandise, which you could purchase, and we get a little bit of a kickback from that, but all of our articles are on there. We're going to be writing more. We're going to be doing more. 2025 is a tremendous year for Comic Book Clique. We are ramping up all kinds of new content. There's a new video series coming out. You should be reading. There's a new. We're doing major previews still every month where we're looking through the solicitations and giving you our recommendations. We have the CBC halls where Alex, the Cog, every week shows you the new comics that he's got coming up. So make sure that you're paying attention to all things Comic Book Clique at comicbookclique.com. Best part, we're not at comicbookclique.com alone. We share real estate over there with the best roommates in the world, Dirt Sheet Radio, the leaders in all things pop culture and professional wrestling. And just as big of a year that we have as far as comic books and comic book media, wrestling is going to be having a tremendous year as things like AEW move over to Max, things like Monday Night Raw move over to Netflix, and we still have WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble right around the corner. So check out those guys for that. They do tireless work, post shows for everything in professional wrestling: Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Ring of Honor, Impact, and more. So make sure you're checking out all the things Dirt Sheet Radio does. All that stuff will be in the show notes. Make sure that you're following us all over social media: Facebook.com/comicbookclique, Instagram at comicbookclique, and use that hashtag comicbookclique to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. We're at Major Issues CBC on Twitter. We're also at Major Issues CBC on Twitch. Don't forget to visit magicmind.com/cbookjan for 45% off their amazing sleep and focus shop bundle, an exclusive offer for the listeners of this very podcast. That's magicmind.com/cbookjan for 45% off. Get it while supplies last, and that link will also be in the show notes, so you can go ahead and get them there. I think I'm about done. If you want to help us monetarily, go to comicbookclique.com and buy a piece of merch from our TeePublic store. We get a kickback that way. You can go to patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse, and for as little as 10 cents a day, $3 a month, you can help us afford the hardware and the software that we need to keep providing you guys content free of charge. That's another way you can give us money. But maybe you don't got money. Maybe you just got a bunch of heart. Maybe you just got a song you got to sing, and you just want to spread the word. Word of mouth is as good as money around these parts. Go tell a friend to tell a friend about the Major Issues podcast, about comicbookclique.com, about how we shoot Major Issues live on Facebook, about how we're doing major previews on YouTube, about how we're about to take over the globe. Because I've been to the future where we do become the latest and greatest thing to come to comic books and comic book media, but I can't tell you how we do it because next thing you know, it's What If Dwayne Johnson. That's just the name of the season, and it's him in every episode. I said it. I said Black Superman, didn't I? I said it here on this very podcast, and y'all ain't want to believe me. So again, get on the bandwagon before the bandwagon gets full. The best, the coolest, the funniest, the dankest takes of comic books and comic book media happen as part of the Major Issues podcast. So make sure that you guys are here for the next episode, which will be Creature Commandos. But if you want the people to find you, A-Rob, where could they find you?
Oh, you guys can find me at A-Rob the Marvel God, or on gaming platforms, Omega Avenger 26. Right now I'm playing Marvel Rivals, so check me out sometime, or add me. We can play together.
Yeah. I am constantly dying on that because people have already their Overwatch sort of. They're good at that, so they're also doubly good at this, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But it's been a lot of fun. So check him out there. We might head over and do some stuff on there too soon. But yeah, man, this is an exciting year. Brand new content coming in, brand new content coming out of us from comicbookclique.com. So just make sure that you're paying attention of all those things. And we will see you guys next week. But my name is George Serrano, aka the Don.
And I'm A-Rob the Marvel God.
And this has been our What If Season 3 recap and review. And remember, whether you're stuck in 1872, whether you're a samurai ghost rider, or if you end up being a gamma radiated atomic bomb yourself, remember, regardless, that we are the Clique. And always remember that you, yes, you are worthy.
Recording stopped.
It stopped the recording, but now I gotta figure out how to stop the live. We're still live. Right? Yep. Now what? Just how do I pull the plug on this thing?
I think you just ended. Can you just end it?
I think so. How do I pull the plug on this thing? No, I literally just heard myself ask how I pull the plug on. That is funny. Let me see. I think I pressed this. Nope. So we are just gonna disconnect and hopefully that will work.